跌落負方組其實係俾到一個好明確嘅信號球隊啦，即係知道大家嘅不足，咁唔好覺得話我哋真係一隊傳統嘅球隊就一定係贏晒。
其實唔係一球或者係一個 miss call 係輸場波嘅，係個場嘅裏邊咧都好多嘢發生，可以做好啲。輸咗之後，我哋都會要檢討下，唔係嗰刻係輸咗嘅，其實係有其他嘅防守啊、miss 嘅籃板啊嗰啲咁嘅嘢。
教練團翻去咧，其實就檢視咗對滿貫呢場比賽啦，發覺咗一個問題就係依賴 Tyler 同埋 CJ 佢哋自己嘅單打，咁所以咧就喺呢個 CJ 同 Tyler 嘅合作上面咧落咗啲苦功，希望咧靠佢兩位嘅牽引力咧，令到其他嘅得分手咧係有起手嘅機會同埋空間。
We're not in the right spots and our timing is off, right? For me, the way the teams play defense on me, if our guys aren't in the right spots, it makes it easier for the other team to play defense on me, right? But when we're in the right spots, I have more room to play, which then helps our teammates because then they get open shots.
教練會有教練嘅部署啦，咁球員嘅職責就係落到場執行教練嘅部署，咁但係冇一套戰術係萬能嘅。落到場兩隊人都係鬥緊臨場應變，而臨場應變嘅能力就係勝負嘅關鍵。
When I was in the UST in Philippines, and I was at the last bench, so I was always, you know, every time you get just 10 seconds or 15 seconds, you need to be ready. The coach will always walk around, and look at the bench, look at the coach like you're a dog, like put me, like I'm shaking, like oh you gotta put me in. So I did that with every team I've been in. Like the 1 minute I played, the coach would see that I'm very passionate in terms of you have to play defense. You cannot be lazy. Like your energy always needs to be at 200%, not even 100%.
If he doesn't move, pass the ball to him, he can start again. Anyway, don't need to rush. You bring the ball.
我對籃球嘅熱愛可能超出過好多人，所以我嘅享受咧唔係淨係話攞個杯，我係享受成個過程，參與球隊嘅訓練，釐定我哋比賽嘅戰術，出場嘅人選，我都係好積極參與嘅。所以呢45年咧，除非係有特別嘅事情，如果唔係咧，我訓練嘅出席率咧，我係非常高嘅。比賽嘅缺席率咧係根本上差唔多冇，我都對自己都好滿意。
And basketball is just a game of adjustments, so we knew the things we were doing wrong on defense and offense. We just need to come together as a team, fix the mistakes we're doing, and I think we'll be fine throughout the tournament. And we had all the confidence in the world that we could win every game after that loss.
Dave.
進入負方組嘅4強遇上漢友，雙方之前已經係對戰過一次。當時永倫係贏100-61。呢一場比賽嚟到第2節中段，永倫已經領先到19分嘅差距。泰勒繼續冇手軟啊，強攻對手，完全冇人阻止到佢，幾多個人包夾都入到籃底得分。泰勒可以提早退下火線，將剩低嘅時間交俾隊友。
The tweaks we made on offense, having great spacing, because when we have good spacing, we are much more efficient on offense. And when we're better on offense, it helps us on defense as well, because then we can get back, guard people properly, and set our defense. Then we can become a pretty good team.
永倫全隊打得好順啊，有4人得分上雙，而泰勒以全場最高嘅32分，帶領球隊殺入負方組準決賽。下一關就對康人福建。上場余理洋受傷患困擾，打得唔係太好，睇下今場表現點啦。呢球波偷到4打2嘅快攻，泰勒回翻俾佢，空晒嘅余理洋搞掂。進攻時間得翻幾秒啫，余理洋出手啦！睇落今日佢嘅狀態。
We came in like full of energy, very excited to finally play together. I'm getting healthy finally, and we were definitely more aggressive. CJ was playing so hard, dunking, rebounding. That's what we needed from him, and we were just working great together. And Tyler was just managing everything at the point guard position, as he usually does, and it was a really satisfying victory.
余理洋殺入禁區 ，N1。 泰拿、余里揚、蓋蒂斯三巨頭共入51分。本冠上場輸俾南華，列入負方組，再次對戰。
Obviously, when we knew it was Tycoon again, we were excited because we wanted to get them back for them beating us in the first game.
機會可以話報仇啦，或者係可以話檢討，希望唔會即係 make the same mistake 啦，就希望可以有啲進步。
You know, walk into the court, seeing all the fans during warm-up just gave us a lot of motivation. You know, they're cheering on, they're the most fiery. I already have so much energy, I'm at 200%, and they just made it at 300, 400. Every time they yelled, I appreciate them so much.
泰拿試射3分，開一開齋先。連浩俊呢邊都一球3分，滿貫叫個暫停。余里揚突破分波，俾到泰拿，有啊！泰拿硬爆入去，今次到佢分俾余里揚。 永倫連入4個3分波。
We did a really good job of spacing the floor to begin the game, and then we just started getting so many open three looks. Me and Tinchu just sprinting the floor full court. Tyler was, head manning it, just open three after open three after open three. So their defense was really collapsing, and they really had no answer for it to start the game. And we built up a really big lead, and they couldn't catch us for the rest of the game.
韋斯廷零度位又中。 陳可儉後備球員都着晒火。呢邊余里揚再整多球，第12球3分波，領先到62-38，滿貫完全。
You know, we executed very well on offense. As I mentioned, people being in the right spots, adjusting our spacing made a big difference. Hence, we had 17 threes made in that game, which is a lot for any team to make. And that was definitely the reason why we won handily in that game.
So my job is very easy. Stay put. Sometimes they pass the ball, sometimes they don't. No matter what, you need to stay ready. If you miss, you miss. Just know it's a good shot. Keep playing. If you miss, get back. If you make it, get back. That's it.
俾到蓋蒂斯，回傳翻俾韋斯廷3分波，有啦。 永倫全場入咗17球3分波，殺入決賽，將會同南華爭奪冠軍。
At the end of the game, that it was 17 threes because we didn't realize that we were in the moment. We're having so much fun together. Everyone's getting shots, everyone's getting the ball, so it was just a great victory, and we were just excited to move on to the finals.
隔離令咧，話明咧就係由2003年3月31號上午6時起生效，至到2003年4月9號下午夜12時為止。
為睇而家情況先啦，有2個警員咧就戴晒全副嘅保護衣物啦，同埋戴晒頭套、手套咁樣啦，咁就係喺現場度咧就把守。
嗰次應該係香港第一次面對一種全新啦、致命啦又散播得好快嘅病毒。咁但係沙士冇好似 Covid 咁全港封城或者居家令。 只係街上嘅人流咧明顯減少咗。不過咁，球迷就照樣嚟到場館，坐滿70%入座率左右啦。喺啲漂白水嘅氣味底下咧，戴住口罩睇波。咁我諗其中有2個好大原因。第一就係大家都想睇下永倫可唔可以打破歷史紀錄，成為第一隊4連冠。咁第二咧就係嗰年嘅球季有一隊好猛呢個球隊升上甲1。
南華1954年咧，即係第一屆香港籃球聯賽嘅時候咧，已經喺度噶啦。當時頭6屆裏邊咧，有3次佢攞咗冠軍，即係84啦、85同埋86年啦，係一隊好歷史悠久嘅球隊。只不過有一段時間咧，佢哋降咗落甲2組成13年嘅時間。
南華再升上甲1組咧，因為主要都係洪又翼先生入主咗南華，我好佩服佢嘅。咁孔咧投放咗好多資源同時間。 喺南華會呢個球隊上邊，阿孔咧亦都周圍去招攬一啲非常有質素嘅球員啦。第1年咧，佢就傾咗蔡芳宇過嚟。
當年嚟講咧，好多球隊咧，我哋嘅練習咧都要喺唔同嘅康文署嘅場地，好似打遊擊咁樣。而南華會擁有固定嘅場地，同埋能夠有一個固定嘅訓練咧，其實好吸引我哋籃球員嘅。
除咗蔡芳宇啦，本身被譽為亞洲籃板王嘅譚偉陽，都由青年過咗南華，加上蕭建明，咁啊3個高佬形成3柱陣。嗱，好坦白啦，一直以嚟升班上到甲1嘅球隊都係盡力保住自己，唔好包尾降班就算啦。喂，但係南華就唔同喎，佢哋內線啊固然難打，連外線咧都有阿楊敏華、石兆基呢對射手，成隊有競爭力到，直頭可以同永倫、福建兩隊冠軍球隊硬冚啊！
我哋係3隊球隊裏邊內線最弱嘅一隊，淨係靠李偉倫配搭住經驗比較少嘅任卓文，而佢2位咧都係大前鋒，並非係正中鋒。而福建咧就用翻上屆陣容，由高大嘅宋方帶領住佢哋守住個籃底。
結果咧，我哋就輸咗俾南華，5年嚟第一次入唔到決賽㗎。而聯賽2場賽事對南華同埋對福建，我哋都係輸晒㗎。唔單止4連冠失敗，仲係只係得季軍添。
We ran into what I would call a gap in terms of finding our identity. We didn't really have one. You know, Hung and I were wild and kind of fast players, and we played with a kind of pace that our teammates didn't really play with at that point. So we were all starting to learn how to play together, and that takes time. That season was just for me, it marked the beginning of a new era at Winling, a new style of play. But all in all, it was an experiment. It was something that was going to take us into the future, but it wasn't something that was going to win us a championship that year.
超級中心杯嘅決賽啊！咁啊，首先咧，我同梁偉文咧會同大家介紹2隊嘅球員名單嘅。香港隊外號插花王嘅4號香振強，劉子基，6號蔡芳宇，7號搏晒老命嘅翁金華，8號籃板王李偉倫，9號得分王呂楚威，10號神射手胡國峰，11號贏波功臣潘志豪，12號胡華峰，高佬之中嘅高佬宋芳，楊敏華，上年嘅最有價值球員譚偉陽，跟住係香港隊出錢出力嘅領隊洪游奕先生，琴日戰術調動得宜相當出色嘅教練麥錦輝先生。
之後嗰幾年嘅球賽咧就8隊波嘅，咁啊有永倫啦、福建啦、南華啦、青年啦、太平洋、新青聯、愉園，咁啊加一隊升班隊嘅。咁啊基本上每年咧都淨係睇嗰3隊啦，就係福建啊、永倫啊同埋南華咯，喺度互鬥。咁啊銀牌又好，聯賽都好啦，咁大家都係贏晒其他球隊啦。咁總之最後邊隊砌贏邊隊咧，就邊隊捧杯啦。
能夠入選港隊打超級工商杯咧，一定係最好最 top 嘅本地球員㗎啦。咁其中最受關注嘅咧，當然係阿潘志豪啦。佢係第一個加盟中國 CBA 嘅球員。我哋喺04年咧就招攬到佢入我哋永倫隊。
呢個係亞洲冠軍球會杯嘅相嚟嘅，咁當時應該喺吉隆坡，咁係打比賽嘅，咁我哋出去食嘢嘅相咯，係。咁當時我仲未打永倫嘅，咁就有許生就叫咗我啦，同埋叫咗翁金華2個一齊去幫手打嘅。喺未打永倫之前，我哋都有幫手打過永倫嘅比賽，係。
哇！都幾衝撞啊！呢球撞開2個都成咗。之後金平搏3分啊佢，好！仲有9秒啊！9秒起手，7秒起手。哇！其實咧，而家係射到20分啦已經啊！暫時咧香港隊得分最高嘅球員啦。咁啊，佢哋講得好好啊！投票咧就計票數㗎嚇。咁有3個球員嘅票數都好緊嘅。1年之後咧係可以。
咁喺 CBA 雖然打咗1年唔多啦，咁但係因為之前喺香港打波我就打得分後衞多嘅，咁但係上到去其實可能身高上嘅問題啦，我就變咗要去打控衞啦。咁打呢1年學識咗就係組織啊，咁同埋喺傳波方面咧嘅視野會增長咗咯。CBA 翻嚟之後咧，咁就許生就有同我聯絡啦。我覺得翻嚟打翻永倫都係好正常，因為當初係佢俾咗機會我去參加啲國際賽咯。有啲球員都係比較熟悉啊，甚至乎係一啲我哋港青嘅隊友啦。咁所以我覺得加盟永倫都係即係我會覺得好夾嘅一件事啦，係。
PJ, that was my nickname for him, Punji, even though it's not spelled that way, but I called him PJ, and you could tell he was a special basketball player. He could do everything. He was incredibly fast. He was an incredible shooter, an all-around scorer, fundamentally sound.
喺球場上面嗰種嘅球風，好吸引我哋香港好多嘅球迷。
He was a unique player. He was unlike anybody else in the league. You know, I remember one game when he was still at youth and we were at Winling. I think we were playing like Kwai Hing. I think I had like 45 and he had like 50. And I'm not exaggerating. You know, we were going at each other the entire game. And I remember leaving that game thinking to myself, man, it would be fun to be teammates with this guy.
喺2003年咧，阿孔咧就打電話俾我，佢話佢想李偉倫同張錦洲加盟南華，問我嘅意見。
因為預我哋呢幾個主力球員都過咗去，咁當然過埋去又有譚一陽啊、楊敏華啊、石兆基啊，咁啊真係個感覺就好似又再製造多次威納嘅球隊咧。
我希望球員喺成長嘅過程裏邊咧，係能夠自由啲。如果有球隊俾好嘅條件佢，而我哋永倫俾唔到嘅，佢應該去。嗰啲球隊你去到可能有一個唔同嘅打法，喺成熟過程裏邊一個轉變。另外揾得佢嘅可能都係俾啲好啲嘅條件佢，包括入息。咁如果我哋前面有人阻住佢發揮唔到咧，佢去第二度都係應該嘅。
有邊個唔想喺一個好強嘅球隊，大家有一班隊友就夾咗好多年，有 friend 底嘅組埋一齊啦。咁結果我哋就過咗南華啦。
The whole thing felt like facing the Avengers, to be honest. You know, more than half the Hong Kong team roster was on that team. There's just nothing you could do with a roster like that. The assembly of that roster was almost unfair to the rest of the league.
咁當時我哋永倫隊其實主要嘅打法都係以快攻為主啦。咁但係我哋自己球隊永倫裏邊都有個問題嘅，就係我哋內線嘅高度咧，其實係唔夠高啊。咁相對對方即係我哋嘅對手啦、南華啦，佢哋陣中裏邊嘅球員內線咧係比我哋優勝嘅。我哋面對住佢哋咧，其實就攞唔到優勢嘅，只能夠真係喺快攻反擊嘅時候先可以做到咯。
佢話李偉倫、蔡方宇同埋譚偉陽3個拍埋一齊，高度真係好難搞。
最好嘅其中一個球員啦，搞掂佢啦！仲有機會，犯規啊，冇吹到啊，男仔好高啊，3個都超過6歲。
嗱，最後呢支明星隊咧打出佢哋嘅身價，喺04年全勝姿態拎走2個冠軍。咁隔年咧用原班人馬喺第1年改賽制。決賽5場3勝嘅情況之下，再下一城。繼威納之後，成為另一隊連續2年得到雙冠軍嘅球隊。
自己訓練出嚟嘅球員幫咗其他球隊打敗自己去攞杯，咁一方面有啲失望，一方面又開心。開心佢哋喺第2個地方咧證明咗自己嘅能力。其實我一直都希望多幾支球隊嚟參加甲一組嘅賽事。咁增加整體嘅競爭力。咁南華嘅強勢回歸咧，就係非常有利聯賽嘅發展嘅。
好多時我哋成隊波打落去咧，就係我哋可能上半場都贏，咁但係去到最後嘅時候咧，可能真係體力有少少下降啦。咁因為我哋嘅身高高度嘅優勢係輸蝕咗嘅，去到臨尾可能有啲波真係會俾人影響咗啦，喺進攻方面，甚至乎喺防守方面，籃板球都係內線有啲波，即係我哋射唔入就可能就真係攞唔到籃板咯。我哋唔係冇高大球員，係爭少，但係爭1寸2寸，就爭1寸2寸咁樣咯，係。
無論進攻或者防守咧，多一球籃板咧就多一次進攻嘅機會。我哋咧一定要揾人填補呢一個漏洞。
我好遲先打籃球，我差唔多18歲先開始正式接觸籃球嘅。之後就認識到鄧小巨呢個教練啦。鄧小巨就帶我咗去咗遊協打乙組，咁嘅乙組就贏咗冠軍，就打上甲二啦。咁甲二贏咗冠軍又上去甲一啦。咁去到甲一我就冇打遊協嘅。鄧小巨就介紹咗許山波識啦，因為鄧小巨係之前永倫球員嚟㗎。咁我第一次見許山啦，佢就問我啦，話你幫我嚟打波好唔好啊？咁我成其實都諗都唔使諗話，好啊，咁樣嚟打就入咗永倫球。
阿賈初時咧仲係真係未夠經驗嘅。同埋身形咧都比較瘦削，佢之後嘅成功咧，當然係靠佢自己嘅努力同埋我哋嘅訓練啦。喺身形方面，佢好肯去鍛鍊，變為一個肌肉型嘅4號位，速度夠快，適合我哋當時全面性快嘅打法啦。
喺永倫隊中咧，好多人哋唔中意做嘅防守工作、搶籃板啊，佢都會去做。咁呢啲喺籃球裏邊大家知啦，叫 dirty work， 即係實際上咧又唔係話點去攞分嘅。咁喺籃球隊裏邊咧，就必須有一個咁嘅球員願意去做一種防守啊、搶籃板嘅工作，呢個就係賈啦。
咁啱啱嚟到甲一咧，即係自己都第一未打過都驚驚地嘅。咁仲驚緊嘅時候咧，就聽到驚人嘅消息啦。蔡芳耀同埋李慧倫咧都轉咗去福建，派住宋方啦。以佢哋嘅身高嚟講，總和咧係比之前南華仲高仲恐怖嘅。
嗰陣時嘅甲一籃球啊，都其實係用高度去制勝嘅，咁所以好多隊都係有好高嘅球員在陣，咁啊好似得到高嘅球員就得天下，
又好似夾咗一隊即係誇張啲講，好似一隊 dream team 咁嘅感覺。成隊波個感覺亦都真係有完整，好多條件可以做到好多嘢咯嚇。
當時有個數據係關於李慧倫啦同埋蔡芳宇呢對組合嘅，喺10年間聯賽入邊，佢兩個8次聯手合作8次，都成功奪冠。
李慧倫楞住我咧就攞咗8次聯賽冠軍，而我咧攞16次。
睇下攞啲乜嘢咯，可能係打籃球咧，好似去打羽毛球啊、乒乓波都唔錯嘅喎。
今場波咧，福建啊同以往一樣啦，都係着翻佢哋嘅淺藍色波衫上陣啊，而永倫咧就係着翻喺佢哋嘅金黃色嘅波衫啊。咁喺一開波冇耐咧，福建隊啊都係採取翻外圍嘅投射得分啊。咁見到咧，佢哋嘅射手翁金華咧喺啱啱一開賽已經係連入咗3球3分波㗎啦，而佢咧亦都帶領福建隊啊打出一節11-0嘅攻勢。
The Triple Towers, Choi Feng-yu, Li Weilan, Sun Feng. 6'10", 6'8", 6'8". Yong Kam-hwa still shooting the ball. Other strong backcourt players, Chong Ming-ta, point guard. I mean, this was another team that was built for championships. But our front court was all brand new. But we were young, fast, and we had a different kind of style of play. So for us, it was how fast could we evolve to be able to counter against a traditional roster like Fuji's? And that was the task of 2006.
鍾明達咧再交翻俾男隊嘅蔡芳月，今次咧轉身啊喺邊線投射都攞到2分。
當年嚟講咧，入得決賽嘅2支球隊咧，固然係勁旅啦。咁啊，以往嚟講咧，一場定生死之下改成5場3勝制嘅賽事，即係話俾我哋聽咧，每支球隊唔係話喺40分鐘裏邊表現得幾好，而係要係一個好長遠、好有部署備戰之下去打好呢5場3勝制，先能夠贏到總冠軍。
由呢球轉身相當靚，俾左邊嘅中馬飛嚟球3分咧。另外鍾永達嘅防守亦都相當好啊，自己偷個波之後嘗試上籃，雖然入，但係後邊有翁金華補入啊，入多2分波。咁慢慢咧，福建隊又再將呢個比數拉遠啦。 翁金華3分又再次得手啊！目前比數咧，福建隊已經領前緊12分㗎啦。呢一球李喬峰3分啊，仲俾呢一個嘅翁金華成功攔截到，最後福建隊以68比57擊敗永倫，總場數1比1打成平手。
You know, it was just a matchup issue. You know, they're huge. And if we're not shooting the ball incredibly well, you know, it's really tough to compete against a team with a front court that size. So as the shots didn't fall, we weren't making tactical adjustments. It's understandable, you know, you can't be hot all the time, and that night just wasn't our night.
打完一場比賽之後，無論輸或者贏嘅話，其實大家都可以翻去檢討啊！即係反而係嗰陣時當時有個情況就係你贏咗嗰隊咧，檢討係少啲嘅。即係你贏咗嘛，我好似冇乜點樣挑剔咁樣啦。輸咗嘅時候你就會改進點解會輸啊？咁第二場就會變咗人哋會打好多好多。
2比1咧領先住福建。嚟到第4場咧，着住淺藍衫嘅福建一開波咧已經係爭取主動啊！呂楚威啱啱外頭又再得手。咁但係咧，今次永倫咧開始着重翻喺內線嘅攻擊，吳華峰啊順利咧上籃得咗2分，而潘志豪嘅外線開始順翻手風啦。因為咧上一場咧聽過福建嘅教練講過咧，佢哋咧主要都會將防守擺翻喺潘志豪身上，盡量唔俾潘志豪攞咁多分。不過今次咧永倫開始轉打嘅攻勢啦，先將個波咧餵咗落去內線嘅吳華峰，跟住先傳翻出去，潘志豪咧又空晒啊！就算咧俾福建嘅守將 mark 住咧都冇問題，又入咗球3分波。喺內線方面咧，宋方咧終於見到翻有啲入波啦。其實宋方咧喺進攻方面啊，近呢幾場都唔係太見樹啊。相反喺永倫方面，潘志豪仍然冇留手啊，依然成功切入攞到2分。但係講到內線嘅話，最拿手當然係福建嘅蔡方宇啦。佢轉身投射啊，根本就高過晒啊永倫所有嘅守將，根本係好難守到噶。而福建亦都成功打出咗一段啊11比0嘅攻勢。
我哋已經連續3年冇攞過任何獎杯啦。但係咧，我哋啲年青嘅球員咧都慢慢成熟，打出我哋自己個風格，唔理人哋有幾強啦，我哋要打翻我哋自己嘅實力啦。
對方都會好驚我哋亦都會好驚對，因為大家知道佢哋又未必守到我哋外線嘅球員，我哋又未必守到佢哋嘅內線球員。咁其實反觀就係每場比賽裏面都係真係睇下嗰場波邊一邊自己真係發揮得好啲，佢頂到最後啊！
其實而家已經嚟到第4節嘅時候啦，李偉倫今次背籃唔交波啦，自己上籃攞2分就非常輕易。但係咧，啱啱想讚佢嘅時候咧，福建嘅防守依然都係唔掂啊！俾呢一個嘅永倫啊8號空
因為跟唔到佢哋嘅腳步，因為佢哋實在太快，佢哋打4節都係咁快。你可以咁講話佢哋係唔係太有戰術喎？佢哋個戰術就係同你鬥快、鬥衝、鬥搶、勤力。
嚟到最後關頭啦，鐘馬飛今次控球轉身得唔得啊？左手，哎呀，但係差少少，冇緊要啊！喺後邊就6號嘅方成義啊，為佢哋補籃攞咗2分。嚟到最後10秒啦，福建落後緊74比76，仲差2分啊！冇緊要啊！佢哋嘅老將翁金華空晒俾到中間射到一球2分，76比76，結果兩隊要進入加時階段啦。嚟到加時嘅時候咧，終於見到福建嘅主將李偉倫開始打翻啲生氣啦。入咗球3分之餘，自己又再背籃，交唔交先？睇定咗，見到鐘馬飛根本唔夠佢高，嚟一下轉身近後射波啊！入多2分啊！李偉倫已經連攞咗5分啦。永倫啊，真係要諗下辦法。呢一下咧，香振強交得好靚啊，但係方成義籃底唔入，第2球都唔入，冇籃得唔得啊？喺臨完場前雖然入到呢1分，但係都唔夠力啊。結果咧，福建啊喺第4場85比83。
It was an incredibly physical game 4, but ultimately you got to make the big plays when it counts. And we went to overtime, and they wound up winning that game, so we're going to game 5. You know, didn't want to give them that oxygen, but we did. You know, and it set the stage for a pretty dramatic final.
咁喺呢一下咧，永倫嘅鐘馬飛攞到波，即刻快攻啊，交俾外線嘅潘志豪3分啊，好有信心啊！咁啊，福建嘅鐘銘大咧就諗住放棄外頭啊，改行鏟籃都係唔掂啊，反而係俾永倫有機可乘啊，翁曼特嚟個快攻添，哇，空晒啊！福建趕唔切回防，又失2分。咁永倫咧以一段8比0嘅攻勢完結咗第1節啊，領先呢個福建10分㗎。咁嚟到第2節啦，福建打快翻少少啊！黃振偉 high low 咧妙傳俾籃底嘅蔡方宇得分，嗰度睇到咧永倫嘅 double team 咧都防守得好快啊！華仔咧截到呢個潘志豪嘅傳波，跟住交翻俾後上嘅呂楚威啊！嗱臨嚟個快攻攞多2分添。
咁永倫見勢色不對咧，咁佢哋主力之一嘅中馬飛立即拖慢翻節奏啊，自己上籃啊，右手第二時間。不過其實咧喺內線方面咧，福建都有一定嘅攻勢㗎。咁啊，蔡邦宇呢一下背籃睇準咗黃振偉切入啊，先至交波好靚啊，攞多2分。不過呢一下咧，永倫嘅吳華峰就慢啦。咁好彩之後啊，即刻咧做翻一下靚嘅防守，中馬飛啊交俾右邊嘅翁曼特，差啲甩咗㗎啦。但係翁曼特控穩咗先，自己想唔想？唔想喎，借住呢個吳華峰嘅單擋。
Yung Mantap was the savior for us, if I'm super honest. Like, he made a couple of shots down the stretch the fourth quarter, one from the top of the key and a three-pointer from the left wing. I remember it like it was yesterday.
咁啊，睇翻蔡邦宇內線唔得，終於交翻俾呢個前香港射手翁金華，成場都唔係太起眼，到第3節咧先至入翻球3分波啊，攞到自己頭3分啊！但係咧，福建隊嘅進攻依然都唔係咁奏效，俾中馬飛攞到籃板之後，自己啊製造埋一下快攻。咁啱啱先讚完啦，永倫咧今場表現最出色嘅呢一位控球後衞翁曼特控定咗，跟住睇準空位先至起手啊，全場咧就射入咗20分。咁嚟到最後嘅關頭咧，福建隊咧雖然係盡量希望從外線咧可以得到更加多嘅分數，但係咧始終都攻唔破永倫嘅防守。結果去到最後關頭咧，永倫就控定個波等完場啦。睇準個鐘，夠鐘啦！結果咧，永倫啊以74比68喺生死之戰嘅第5回合擊敗咗福建隊啊！經過咗3年嘅沉寂之後咧，永倫隊終於再一次取得咗甲1聯賽季後賽嘅冠軍。
These were moments where Fukin was coming back. You never know. You can't count out a Young Kamwa team. But our young guys came to play and, made us all super proud. We won a championship with a new style of play and a super young roster, many of whom were playing in their first championship against probably one of the most experienced and seasoned rosters that we'd ever seen. I think we ran them down. I think we had more energy. I think we had more youth, and it became the start of a new era for Winling.
好激動啊，同埋好激動，同埋喊晒嘅，因為我嗰陣時唔係話打得好多，同埋始終第一次啦，落到場好多嘢都唔識去，仲係摸索當中。咁但係贏咗嗰個感覺係好開心。
Running 跟嘅戰術梗係快啦，即係呢頭個波喺呢邊，哇！佢下邊已經叭一聲去咗另一邊啊，即係。好犀利！嗰陣時有一啲行家話：喂，我啲相機都冇咁勁啊，咁點追咧？係咪？即係有陣時真係快到係 focus 唔到。
06年重拾冠軍之後啦，我哋再次同 Adidas 合作，我哋嘅球衣咧都會喺 Adidas 嘅門市度有得賣啦。咁我哋得到全球前列嘅國際體育品牌嘅支持咧，對香港嘅籃球啊、香港嘅籃球文化有一個好大嘅影響。
我覺得係一個肯定嚟嘅，咁亦都係即係一個推動力咯，會更加想打好啲，即係好似覺得原來真係會有人留意我哋本地籃球甲1嘅賽事咁樣。
We always approached it with the mindset of we need to win the championship. That's the expectation of our owner. And so, we're gearing up for a repeat in the off season. We're gearing up to try to do this same thing again. 1 year older, 1 year wiser, but still with a nice young team. It felt like we were going to be unbeatable that year too. Just because of the talent and the chemistry that we all had together at that point. So, I felt at that point never more at home with the team as I was getting older, and it made up for a special year.
比51擊敗咗南華隊，永倫亦都順利喺第4回合以總場數3比1成功衛冕咗呢個冠軍，亦都贏得咗香港籃總首度頒發嘅冠軍指環。今場射入最高20分嘅香振強亦都係贏波嘅功臣。
It was an honor to be a Hong Kong basketball athlete. It was such an honor to have so many people rooting for you and supporting you. And for me, it wasn't a sense of goodbye. It was just I had to move on to the next chapter. We had high hopes for the season. It wasn't over, but we ended up losing. In the Silver Shield, we couldn't keep the three-peat dream alive. Fukin and SCAA were back at it to fight for the finals. And my last game in Hong Kong as a player was the 3rd place match, of the 2008 season. And yeah, what a pity.
永倫嘅射手鍾馬菲啦，上個星期正式告別籃球壇。告別儀式啦，唔算係好鋪張㗎，不過場面咧簡單得嚟咧，都幾令人感動㗎。
由海羽、宏達、飛鷹再到永倫，由當年外援做主導，到近年禁止起用外援，鍾馬菲見證咗本地籃球壇近10年嘅光景，終於選擇喺永倫引退啦。呢位3分射手最希望喺球迷心目中留低個咩印象呢？
If you ask me how I want to be remembered as a basketball player for the people in Hong Kong, I want them to remember me as someone who always surprised them. I might do something in the game that was completely surprising, maybe creative, maybe I shot from too far away, maybe I surprised you.
鍾馬菲嘅離開咧，係標誌住永倫呢隊波嘅一個時代嘅完結。佢有非常好嘅脾氣，亦都能夠帶領到我哋嘅年輕嘅球員繼續往前去進步。
咁佢嘅態度啊，或者佢射3分嘅個人技術咧，咁喺當時嚟講，其實同我哋香港嘅打法有少少唔同嘅，咁所以喺佢身上係學到唔少嘢啦。咁你話講到佢退役嘅話，其實係唔捨得嘅，咁但係冇辦法，籃球運動裏嚟講，年紀大咗就即係 support 唔到，繼續去咁劇烈嘅時候，就真係要退落嚟啦。即係自己都會諗啊，到時會點啊，係啊。
What I've learned in my life and what I learned in my career in basketball is it's all about the journey. You know, in the journey, there's going to be wins and losses. Not everything's going to go according to plan. You're never going to get everything you want. You got to keep working. You got to keep grinding. I know I poured everything I had into it during that special era of Hong Kong basketball, you know, into the club, and every missed shot, every tough loss, it's all part of life. It's a metaphor, right? And so made the game really real, and it was all meaningful, you know. And I'm thankful for all of it, the highs and the lows. Unexpected. I felt very proud of being a Hong Kong basketball in that moment.